Hi and welcome back to this video. Today we're talking about domain functional level upgrades and the impact to Centrify agents. So as a recap, Centrify provides a Active Directory integration for non-Unix, Unix, Linux, and Mac platforms. And because they're Active Directory clients, when you're upgrading the functional level, either at the forest or domain functional levels, you need to account for that and participate in those projects, right? So anything that you use that depends on direct control, it could be, you know, uh, your privilege management, your AD bridging, whatever goes on top, maybe the SPNego plugins for Apache or Java servers, maybe using the SAP plugin or DB2 plugin, the LDAP proxy. All those components depend on Centrify Direct Control, which depends on Active Directory. So you need to make sure that your Centrify infrastructure is going to support that upgrade. And we're talking today focusing on going from Windows 2003 domain and forest functional level to Windows 2012. And in the previous video, we joined Active Directory. One thing that I did identify is that I had not, so my functional levels weren't ready. So let's just test that I can log in with an Active Directory user first before we introduce a domain controller. Uh, so first time logging in as this person, and I'm in already. So we also did a recap. You need to make sure that at least you're running 2014.1 version if you're going to 2012. And since years ago we've supported the ability to raise functional levels, especially when we went to 2008. So AD info minus diag with find functionality shows you the behavior. In the previous videos, notice that I had raised from 2000 to 2003 at the domain level, but I had not done it at the forest functional level. So I needed to correct that. The second thing is we can account for our Windows machine in Active Directory, and we can see it in Access Manager. Another benefit, so when you're doing this project, so your AD team may want for you to develop an inventory of your Active Directory clients. So Centrify provides the deployment report utility, right? And you can just run this utility, and it'll show you exactly what's going on in your real estate, including the versions of the agent that are out there, right? So this is a great tool for the assessment phase, right? What we said that we were going to do here is to introduce a Windows 2012 domain controller, because that's part of the best practices, right? So you have older domain controllers, you start introducing newer domain controllers that can work in a lower level. But one of the things that's going to happen when you introduce either a 2008 plus machine is that new Kerberos algorithms are going to be introduced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to promote this machine to a domain controller. Typically, you could do it with PowerShell, but we're going to use just a good old server manager here. So I'm going to go manage. I'm going to add roles and features. I'm going to press next here. I'm going to pick a role that I need. In this case, it's going to be Active Directory Domain Services. When I press next here, what's going to happen is that um, you know, the wizard is going to start, right? So as we do this, what may happen is that I need to provide additional information once the bits have been copied. In the meantime, remember you also have PowerShell utilities shipped by Centrify. Also, Active Directory PowerShell is a great tool for you to gather information as well. Um, okay, so now everything seems to be ready. I'm going to go and do the post-deployment task, which is to promote this computer. So my user already has the proper memberships. So what's going to happen is that before in years ago you had to go and do a forest prep and domain prep before you did that, before you added a newer domain controller. But in this case, I don't have to do it. So let's just go ahead and provide information. And we're going to do next. So I'm going to say to replicate with here, and let's do next. Again, this is what's going to happen is when this thing's when your infrastructure team is ready to introduce a domain controller that is a higher level. That's after you've gone through the testing phase, right? So you've tested that everything is going to work fine. And this is a good example of that. So ideally, you would build a lab with an older domain controller, a newer domain controller, and any of your Unix, Linux, and Mac agents, as well as any of the app plugins. So you can test that as part of the whole DFL or Forest FL upgrade. So this is actually upgrading. I'm going to pause the recording here, and when it comes back, we'll restart that.